Hi, class. Hope you're doing well. Um, let's start with a class. Okay. This chapter we will be talking about the employment and how the process of employment is happening in North America. Recruiting. In this chapter, we will help managers to answer what factors are most important to consider in developing policies. Under what circumstances does it make sense to retain an executive search firm? Why would we want to go and do some research and find out more CVs? Do alternative recruitment source field yield difference in the quality of employer and in their survival rates of the job? And there was other ways of finding, potential employees. How can we communicate as realistic a picture as possible of a job and organization to prospective and new employees? What issues are most critical to them? So we really show them what kind of company we are and what's so very important for them. If I lose my current job, what's the most efficient strategy for finding a new job? So, there is temporary jobs, there is job, people losing their job. What's the best way of finding a new job? Now, in general, a supply chain approach to talent acquisition is, first of all, you start with the creating, and the talent flows comes with a potential labor pool, and then you attract labor pool. You generate applicant pool, you collect them, and then the candidate for you take them for further evaluation. Here, where you do the process of create, attract, and choose other candidate, and then you hire. And meanwhile, while you're doing this work of create, attract, and choose, there is a staffing process, which is in the first you're building and planning. You make a planning and building for labor pool, and you start doing the recruiting, which is from application pool and screening, and then you do a selecting and offering. All this the process eventually you do the metrics, time, practice, expected quality, quantity, variation in quality and quantity. So if you want to hire somebody, you have to go to these stages where you create, attract, and choose, and there is a staffing process involved in it. Now, in the recruitment policies, there is two kind. There is what you call a passive non-discrimination, and there is a pure diversity-based recruitment. The commitment to treat all the races and both sex equally in all decision about hiring, promotion, and pay. You just treat them non-discrimination, all of them equally. Then there is another way, which is called a pure diversity-based recruitment, which is concentrate on effort by organization to actively expand the pool of applicants set that no one is exclusive because of their past or present discrimination. So here you want to make sure you just in the first passive non-discrimination you accept everybody is and you treat everybody equally. Here you want to make sure that nobody is being discriminated because of the past or present histories. Now, there is diversity, also diversity-based recruitment with a preferred hiring. There is soft quota and hard quotas. The soft quota comes in because of the system that you favor a woman and minority in hiring promotion systems. That's a soft quota, which is you favor them. And the hard quota is the mandate. Usually, the government asks you also if you want to get any government contract. It's like the mandate to hire or promote a specific number or proportions of women or minority group in the members. So if you, for example, if you're maybe 100 people, employees per government, probably they will ask you for a 20% woman or minority group members should be part of your team. Now, when we talk in the labor market, geographical area within which the force or supply or people looking for work interact with the forces of demand or employee looking for people and therapy determine the price of labor. You know, the areas where the people are gathered, and this is the labor market is in your area around you. If you are an employer, you're or in a face to face. In a tight labor market where the demand by employer exceed the availability supply of work, which exert upward pressures on the wage. As you notice, it's just like in any case of economy, if the demand higher than the supply, the price goes up. So here, with the demand for employee workers is high, you will see the price, the salaries, it has upward pressure. In a loose labor market, it's the reverse. So the supply of workers exceed the employer's demand, which exert the downward pressures on the employees. So they will be paying less salaries, for example, and wages. Employer face a serious discontinuous segmented labor market over which supply and demand condition vary substantially. There is not always the same, number of the employees who willing to work or change their job. So there is, pressure upward and downward, and sometimes there is segmented in something, some, segment. There is more demand than supply, and there is another. There is more supply than demand. Factor important for deciding the limits of a labor market. You want to know your labor market, where you can get your market. Is first is geography in your area. The second is education on technical required to perform a job. For example, is a very high demand for a lawyer and doctors in Canada, and very low demand for I can. There is a high demand in everything in Toronto. Actually, there are certain industries that, as we said, for the doctor or lawyer, is a very high demand. If they require licensing or certification requirement, if there are a union membership, these are things that decide the limit of a labor market. Then you have the internal labor market, which is within your organization, your company, which is element of formal and informal practice that determine how jobs are organized and described. Method for choosing among the candidates and procedures and authorities through which potential candidate are generated by those people responsible for filling open jobs. Now, every job is advertised within the organization via job posting. So first they go and advertise inside. because the preference is given to the internal candidate by withholding outside. First the internal candidate, then they look at the outside. And they find until if they cannot find internal anybody is willing to take this job or nobody is available, then they will go outside. And usually, if they're internal, each candidate will receive an interview. Recruitment and labor policies characteristic. Ways in which employers can change their policies as the labor becomes increasingly scarce. Improvement, the characteristic of vacant position. So you need to really, if you having a hard time to attract people, you need to improve this job. For example, more pay or more vacation or a better location, more services, more health, all these things that you can improve the characteristic of vacant position. Second thing you can do is to reduce the height of standarding. You don't need to go through 5, 6 selection with the tests, with the interviews. You just reduce the standards. The other way is using more and more expensive recruiting method, which is a less preferable unless it's a high top management job. Extending search over a wider geography, and instead of only in Toronto GTA, you go for all Ontario or all Canada, for example. Recruitment planning. When you want to hire somebody, there should be a plan for it. Recruitment begin with a clear specification. How many people do you need? The number of people needed. The second thing you need to do is why they are needed. So, you need to know number of the people and when they are needed, and the duration between the recipe of resumes and the time of a new hire start work in place. It takes time to hire people, so you need to, take your time to do that. This frame is referred to as a recruitment pipeline. So the time for start recruiting, process of recruiting until people get hired, this is what you call the time frame of recruitment pipeline. In a way, the sequence of event here says from resumes collecting to invitation, there is a 5 days takes. From invitation to interview, there's a 6 days might take an average. Interviews to offers, 4 days, and offers to acceptance 7 days, and the acceptance to report to work is a 21 day. And so the length takes 43 days to recruit somebody. So you need to announce, keep in mind how many days it takes to recruit someone. Until now, recruitment, organizational culture is more important, and the employer brand and reputation are less important. So the organizational culture is getting more and more important, and which company you are and your reputations is not very important anymore. The advantage is less transition time moving into a new job, a greater likelihood of filling a position successfully, and filling a higher level position internally is cheaper than filling it from outside. These are the advantages that you need to, when you are hiring, why you go, for example, internally to hire people. And the cost of motivating motivation levels of other employees. It has a positive because they feel it's been expanding and doing well. Now, internal recruitment, the popular channel available for internal recruitment is the succession planning, and you have it on usually on your software. There is some kind of a succession planning implemented, job posting, and employee referrals, and temporary worker pool. Now, employee referrals. In the employee referrals, usually an employee refers somebody else. Companies gain access to pool of talent they might not normally attract. And your employee has a friend who you can refer to him. He can ask this person can work, can provide employer with a source of passive candidate, lots of employee without without uh, putting an effort or time or money. You get more candidates. And reason employees referrals work because assuming that the current employee value their relation reputation, they are pre-screening. Your current employee likes these people because of their values, so it's easy to hire them. More likely to have an accurate expectation, they are more understanding of what's needed, and newly hired employee referral have someone that they can go for coaching. So because he's a friend, he can go to his friend and within the company and get some coaching there. The other way of recruiting people is through university relation, virtual career fairs, executive search firms, through the employment agencies and recruitment advertisement. Once you want to be hired from the campus, is you need to, as a company, establish a presence on that campus, on the college, not just during the interviewing period. You need to upgrade the content and specify of the recruiting materials, devote more time, more research on the training on campus, interviewer to answer the specific job related question. Train these people who you want to hire. For those candidates who are invited for on-site company visit, provide itineraries and agenda period to their arrival. So they, because this is the first time, so you need to, make them understand of it's going on, the procedures. Focus on job attributes that influence the decision of applicant. Things that make an applicant focus on these things that where an applicant will be going for you instead of going through somebody else. Then you have what you call a job, online job search, which is the internet, and you know that you can go on the site and find out about these things. The internet is where the action is, happening. Recruiting, you would see lots of company on their website also putting a link for recruiting, and there is a 4 or 5 very famous recruiting site. You can take a look at them. Special inducement. With the higher level jobs, that's a different ball game. Newly recruited managers expect some form of relocation. The management, even when you recruit a manager, there is more expectations. And these expectations, such as household goods assistant, when you're getting hired, they will give you some package for helping to assist your housing, allowance to cover any incidental expenses, any things that might happen because of the moving, help with the sale of the relocating employees' home. If they have a house, they want to sell it, you help in selling it, covering the employee loss if when they sell their house, they might lose in it. You can cover it, and the transportation costs for the final move to the new location, probably including the hotels, meals, and all these and transit. Many managers and professionals are usually reluctant to go somewhere else unless their spouse find a job there. So you might want to help him for the spouse to find a job, or fees to placement agencies, contact the outside companies, the cost, and help them in the cost of printing, for example, resumes. These are things that you can help for a manager to move in, because he or she needs to have a spouse to move also. An increasingly common recruiting news is to sign. There is a bonus if the manager sign in. There is a bonus paid after a few months of working there. So, the summary of finding regarding recruitment sources: first is informal contacts are used widely and effectively at all occupation level. It's more effective informal contacts than formal one. Use of public employment services decline as required skills level increase. The more skills there, the less you can find it on the public. You have to go in a certain places with a certain contact. Internal market is a major recruitment source of except for entry level unskilled and semi-skilled workers. Larger firms are the most frequent users of walk-ins. There is no consistent relationship between recruitment sources and person job fit. It doesn't mean this, recruitment sources can give you a person that fits in your job. And you want to make sure that you use a multiple recruitment sources together with informal source, provide more realistic and accurate information. Diversity in oriented recruiting. You want to hire people with a diversity oriented. Employers should use women and members of underrepresented group. In where? In when you are hiring, you probably have these type of underrepresented members or women into job interviews. It gives more relaxing for if you're looking for a diversity oriented. On recruiting trips also, and in employment advertisement and attractive. You want to, attractive campaigns. Diverse candidates consider broader factor in their decision to apply or to remain with organization. Organization should signal the prospective minority applicant that an organization value the diversities. Now, the relationship recruiting. Employer need to establish contacts in the group targeted for recruiting based on credibility between the employer and the contact and the target group. So let's say you have an organization that they don't have that much diversity. You have one or two female or one or two visible minorities. You establish the contact with these people and ask these people to create, take you to the targeted groups and connect you as a bridge. Employers should recognize the following things when they're hiring. It takes time to establish the credible, workable, diversity oriented recruitment program, and there is no payoff from passive non discrimination. The managing recruitment operation process begin with requisitions from a hiring manager usually. to authorize the filling of one or more position within a job categories. Once a job posting is created, it is published in a variety of potential hiring channels. And candidates who apply receive acknowledgement, and the document that they submit proceed through rough screening on a pass or fail basis. Hiring manager interview the most promising candidate and then select one or more candidate who receive the highest rating. Evaluation and recruitment. Evaluation and pass and recruitment operation help improve the efficiencies of recruitment efforts. Require collecting the following kind of information. When you are want to recruit somebody, you have to get these information because this can help the management to select how they're going to hire someone. First, you need to look at the cost of the operation, how much costs to hire one person, cost per hire, number of qualities of resumes by the source that's coming. These other information are very important. Acceptance or offer ratios, analysis of a positive and rejection questionnaires, salary offered, acceptance versus rejection. These are information that needs to be collected and given to the management who is in a process of selecting or hiring or want to hire people. That can help them to find the best and effective and efficient way of hiring people. Now, let's say you get laid off. Finding a job after being laid off, there is some suggestions. First of all, do not panic. Be prepared to wait it out. Do not be bitter as it can turn off potential employer. Do a thorough self-appraisal, find out, the gap, what is your strength and what is your weakness. And then you develop a plan, target companies, and go after them relentlessly. Usually use the internet, public filing, and annual report when you're drawing a list of target companies. That's how you find these companies. Do not be shy or overeager, and do not ignore family. Do not lie on resumes or in interviews. Always let the potential employer bring up the subject of the salary, and be careful when you're posting a resume on internet. Sometimes you're not laid off. Sometimes you employed, but you're searching for a new job. People who are currently employed may decide to engage in a job search for the following reason. They want to establish their network or to demonstrate their marketabilities to their current employer to show their employers that they are can find other place a job, so they might be new into negotiation with current employer, or to develop other job choices to compare with the current positions. So the issues that we are covering, we covered recruitment, potential labor pool, available labor pool applicants, screening, selection, labor market, passive non-discrimination, purely diversity-based recruitment. We spoke about the diversity-based recruitment with the preferential hiring. We talked about the hard quotas, job posting, and virtual career fair and realistic job previews. One more thing that we want to talk about it is the fact that um, I'm going to attach an assignment, a first group assignment. I'm looking for you go through the instruction, and then once you're done with your group assignment, you email it to me, and you want to make sure that your group members is being CC'd, and also in the assignment, their name and their student number is posted there. Thank you very much and have a nice day.